good stuff was said, about people having great visions and walking them out. Like Pastor Robert, for example, his vision. Are you better? Okay, just like his vision, it's faith builders, right? It's like he's starting faith builders out and just having a vision in the beginning and not seeing where it's going to go, but seeing how it transpires. Just watching him walk that out, is just it's inspiring to me to see that, because it gives me hope in seeing like the visions that I have. I don't have to be afraid to step out and follow those visions. And what I'm going to be talking about today is, keeping the vision. And I believe this is the Hebrew word for vision. It's hazah. I don't know if anybody can confirm that. Close enough. I'm not Fount Schultz. I'm not a pro in the Hebrew language. But one of the words that come with it in English is behold, and it says see or observe, especially a remarkable or impressive one. And when we talk about vision, we talk about keeping our vision on Jesus. And I had mentioned a little bit when I facilitated last week about keeping our vision on Jesus. Let me slow down. So I'm going to pray real quick, because I think I need this to calm my nerves, because I'm kind of like a little bit nervous. So Father God, I just ask you now just to fill me with your Spirit, Lord. Take any ounce of me out the way. Allow your Holy Spirit to be the one to speak through me, God. Because this flesh that I have, it brings the nerves forward. And I start to think that what I'm saying is not adequate enough. But God, you gave me a word to speak and allow people to hear. But God, let the Spirit rise up in me, that I can speak this word, that it can touch the hearts and the minds of the people. God, let me not be in the way. I want to be completely out of the equation, Father. Completely out of the equation. Your Spirit, go forth. God, touch these lips. Touch this tongue. Allow your words to come forth. In Jesus' name. So, I've been going through this thing with identity that has been really affecting like what my vision has been. I've been praying, God, like show me what it means to be your child. Show me what it means to be me. So a lot of things I've been having to deal with recently is understanding like who I truly am. And a lot of it has to do with, who I was before. Like I have this masking and defensive mechanism to where I'd like to joke to keep people at a distance. I was talking about this with Charles yesterday. And it's like something that I'm trying to get away from, because I want to learn who I am. Not in like in a serious sense where I have to lose all humor. But like I want to have the vision on Christ to be able to walk like him and be able to see like him and to be able to represent myself in a righteous manner. These guys. But I want to be able to express myself the way that he made me, instead of keeping this wall up to say like, man, I don't know, if I go to speak to you, I don't want you to think that what I'm saying to you is stupid, or like, because I can feel that way. Like I can make a conversation really awkward. I'm learning now how to like more look at Jesus, to be able to see people, not just to have a conversation, that be something that's edifying rather. So like before I even met Christ, I never knew what a vision was to understand who I am. I didn't know what the vision was to follow out the plans that he had for me. I didn't know what a vision was to see, what was to come now as being raised up as pastors. And like even in some sense, I'm still like kind of like, oh man, is this real? And I can kind of like trip myself up and say like, am I actually worthy enough to do this? And that goes back to the whole identity thing, the whole defensive thing. Is like I want to hold myself away from it, because God knew, because I can't see my full potential yet. And I say yet because he's continuously showing to me. It's more like the more that I continue to keep my eyes on him, the vision that he has for me to move forward and preaching his word is becoming more apparent. And it's like, as I wait, I think about this verse in Habakkuk 2:3, and it says, "For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay." And I think about like just being able to go on having this walk that I'm walking out, and then through the things that I have to go through, and it's like understanding, it's like, God, what is your word going to pass? When you said that you're going to provide for me and my family, it's like, when is your word going to pass? And like a lot of things have been settling into my spirit, and like I'm coming to a place of peace. But like I start to feel like Paul when his vision was taken on the road to Damascus, and it's like, I know I seen the Christ, I know I seen Jesus, I know I seen him for who he is. But right now I'm sitting in darkness waiting for the next step. Like I'm sitting here not knowing where I'm going yet, but it's like the vision is there, and it's like, and you're bringing me towards it. It's like, but I'm not yet out of the darkness. I'm not yet going to the place to where I can feel like I'm being, what was the word? What am I trying to say? Where I can be fully immersed into the calling. And I understand the calling. I understand the mission. But it's like that darkness right now that I feel like I'm going in. But it's like, it's not like a darkness that's damning. It's not a darkness that's taking me away from, who Christ is. It's a darkness that's saying, like, be still. I want you to take time to learn who you are. I want you to take time to identify those things inside of you that you need to deal with. And it's the same with us, like all of us. Sometimes we have to go through that darkness. Sometimes we have to sit there, and it seems like 3 days might have seemed like a long time, and sometimes it takes longer than that. But it's like, I know that the good things that are coming are going to outshine. Let me slow down. It's going to outshine more than this time in this darkness. Nothing's lost. And I think something that was profound that came to me is like, I was thinking about when Peter stepped out of the boat. He kept his eyes on Jesus the whole time. And it's like when he was walking to him, he was being called towards him. But like when he sank down in that water, when he took his eyes off, he looked around, he seen the ferocious waves, the storm that was brewing, and he started to sink. It's like, how often do we do that? How often do we look away from who Jesus is because we think of the circumstances outside? Like, I don't have enough money to pay for this. I don't make enough at this job to do this. Like, I can't do it where I'm at this, where I live at this current place. A lot of things in my mind is like, man, I have great visions, but like I feel like I'm limited by where I'm at. But like in that time, it's like it seems like I can never get out. But it's like in that moment where Peter sank, it might have felt like an eternity. And sometimes it is going to feel like an eternity. But like when you restore your vision to to Jesus, you can see that hand pulling you out and pulling you up and saying, it's okay. It's not going to be as long as you think it is. It's not as long as you thought it was. Your circumstances mean nothing to compare to like what I have for you. If you look towards me, then I'm going to show you. If you behold me, if you observe me, something greater than your circumstances, then you're going to see something greater. When we talk about our visions, we talk about sometimes like, what we say and how we say it. In Acts 18:9, it says, "And the Lord said to Paul one night in a vision, 'Do not be afraid. Go on speaking and do not be silent.'" The enemy has so many ways how he wants to silence your vision. Because the Lord doesn't only see your vision. He sees it too, and he hears your words. So those words he can try to use against you. He can try to send someone out to... He can do whatever it takes because he knows the plan that he has for you. He's going to do whatever it takes because he knows the calling that the Lord has for you to try to stop that vision. How many things did you have to go through in your whole walk to get to where you are now, to where it's like, is this actually going to manifest to something? Is this going to actually grow to the vision that I have? How long is this going to take? All of hell is trying to get after you and trying to destroy you, but it can't. In 1 John it says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets has gone out into the world." When I read that, I'm not saying that, everybody's going to be against you, but there is going to be people that are going to be against your vision. They're going to say, this is not going to work out. This is not going to be something that's going to be doable. But it's like when your heart's set on him, you don't see the things in the world that are realistic. And I personally deal with realism. I will look at something and say, this is how it's going to happen because this is the way the world has shown it to be. I can have this vision of realism, and a man that knows this, it's like it has started to go from realism to pessimism real quick. Real quick. And I'm like, man, it's like, this is hopeless. But it's like, if I don't have my vision, my focus on God, then I can't see the optimism in it. I can't see the goodness in this. I can't see that, like, okay, it's like, I might not be able to get in this place right now. We might not be able to get to this house right now. And it's like, and for me, I was dealing with this pressure of like, it's like, I got to get out of where I'm staying. It's like, I can't succeed where I'm at. And it's like, if I stay here any longer, then I'm going to explode. And it's like, I was like, then if we can't get out of here now, then we're never going to be able to get out of here. We're not going to be able to do anything because it just seems like everything's, like I said before, the circumstances aren't adding up. The circumstances for like the job, maybe I'm not making enough money, is not going to play into us getting to a place. And then she's sitting over here trying to be the voice of reason, but I have this beaten voice at the back of my head. So it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. But you know why? It's because I didn't see Jesus in what he was saying to me. He's like, what I have for you is bigger than what you're listening to now. It's like, but why can't you see that? Why can't you just see that my goodness is more than what you're listening to right now? These lies mean nothing. It's like, why are you not believing in the truth that I said I'm going to provide for you? And it goes back to that Habakkuk verse. It says, it hastens to the end, it will not lie. It has its appointed time. And it's like, if I believe that the vision that he had provided and had promised that he provided for us is going to come, then how can I say it's going to lie, that he's lying to me? Because he's not. He has never lied to me. As all the other times I looked in my life where I prayed and God said he's going to provide, and he has, how can I say he's not going to do that now? And like, I have so many like these great ideas. And it's like, I get to a certain point to where I'm excited about it. And then it's like, I get deflated. And I lose the vision. Like, I was thinking about this thing it's called Ample. And I had it for so long, and like, now it's just finally starting to come back. But it's like, I want to be able to like keep my focus on him so much. I want to be able to just like look him right in his face and say, I believe that what you have for me. It's like, I believe that you put this in my heart for a reason, that it's going to come to pass. It's like, but like sometimes I don't have confidence in myself to be able to do that. And sometimes I turn away from him in shame because like, God, I don't know if you can use me for this. I don't know if you can use me for something so great. Like, how can I be the face of this? How can I be the face of this? And he says, look at me, look at me. He's like, who you see is who you are. What you're looking at is a reflection. So why didn't you believe it? How many people can say that they have given up on a vision because of that? Because they don't see who Christ is in it. Because they don't see themselves in it. There's so many great people in here. Like, the stuff that you guys do. And it's like, I hear about it, and I'm like, man, they're stepping out. Like, Jackie's like doing amazing things. Pastor Robert, Stephen Dunn, Pastor Bob Hayes, and Sue. Like, so many other people in here do great things, and like, they're visionaries. And I'm like, man, it's like, if I can just see what they see. And it's like, you can. You can't see what they see. You just look, it's right there. It's so blatant. Peter had his vision on Christ. When he came back, and he knew who Christ was. So when he had his vision restored to him, he understood it's like he can do anything. And he knew he was the Christ. And when we feel like you lost your vision, there's always a way to restore it back to who he is. It's never lost. One of my favorite verses, of course, is Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plan I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." I'm like so emotional right now. I don't know. It's like, but it's like, I'm gonna reiterate this. Is like when I come to preach is like it's stuff that he's given me too for the time. So we're all learning together here. That's why it hit me so much, because it's like. It's so good. It's like such good truth. Something to believe in. When your eyes are on Jesus, you are focused on the future that he has for you. By looking into his eyes, you see the greatness of the calling, and not only the picture of it, but every detail. He wants to prosper you, but you have to focus on him. Nobody on earth will push you successfully into your calling like he will. Nobody on earth is rooting for your success more than Jesus. Yeah. He wants to help you and make you better, but that sometimes take you going through the struggles of life. But it's never to harm you, only to make you stronger so you can handle the weight of the glory he has placed upon you. And that's the truth. If we didn't go through the struggles and having to deal with the doubts and having to make it through those times, then that weight would be too crushing for us. And we would sink underneath the glory. Not in a bad way, but we were not ready for it. And I know I have to go through that. And I know I have to go through these struggles. And I have to deal with this pain sometimes just to understand it's for the greater of the good of what he's got planned for me. And this is one of my favorite. This goes into like my vision of like outreach, and Paul's such a profound person to me, and it's like I don't see Paul as high as Jesus, but Paul is a pretty great man. It's like a vision appeared to Paul in a night. A man of Macedonia was standing there, urging him to saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." It's like we have our vision set on Jesus. We can see better those who need help without the basic human judgment factor. It's like we think about Jim and Kathleen, you know? It's like their focus is on Jesus. So, you know, they went for the call and to say, I don't care what Florida says about the statues of helping homeless people. It's like my focus is more on Jesus and saying, I want to help these people. It's like I'm gonna go past what the law says and go with who he says, because the law means nothing compared to what he has commanded us. It's good stuff. But some questions are, it's like, what happens when we lose our vision? It's like, because sometimes we can, and I understand it. And I've been there and I lost my vision. But like I said before, it can always be restored. There's redemption. There's reconciliation. And it's like, just because I haven't followed through with it doesn't mean it's gone. Right. Maybe he was preparing me for a different season. He was preparing me to step into it. Maybe the vision was there to see something to give me hope to continue forth, to step into this calling. What happens when you have a vision before Christ that seems like a good idea and can bring success, and you find Christ? Well, he can still use it. That just means it's going to become even greater than it was before. And I think about that. It's like, how many people have are prominent leaders that step in and find Christ and still have their platform? That's only just something that you can use to further advance the kingdom. How does God use people to restore your vision when you feel like you have lost it? And it's like, if we go into Acts 9, like where I was talking about, you know, Paul losing his vision. Let's see. Let me just pull it up real quick. I should have had it, but And it says, now there was a disciple at Damascus. This is Acts 9:10. It says, the Lord said to him in a vision, Ananias, and he said, here I am, Lord. And the Lord said to him, rise and go to the street called Straight, and at the house of Judas, look for a man of Tarsus named Saul, for behold, he is praying. And he has seen in a vision a man named Ananias come in and lay hands on him, that he may regain sight. But Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard from many about this man, how much evil he has done to your servants at Jerusalem. And here he has authority from the chief priests to blind all who call on your name. But the Lord said to him, go, for he is chosen instrument of mine, and carry my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. So God will send people there to remind you of the vision that he has. Paul didn't forget, and I'm not saying that he didn't know already what God had planned for him, but just to reaffirm him, he had sent somebody to say, Jesus could have showed up, but he wanted to use fellowship. He wanted to use our brothers and sisters. He wanted to use someone that was of Christ to say, I am there to help you. And it's when he sent him to, let's see, let's read a little bit further. Anyway, I lost my train of thought there. But he had sent him to, help restore his vision, to get him to where he can actually see again. And sometimes we need our brothers and sisters to help do that, because especially if we deal with self-esteem issues, and a lot of stuff can come from our past. If we deal with confidence issues, do we really think that we can do this? And there's people that are going to encourage you. Not everybody's going to be against you. There's going to be people that are going to say, I believe in you. I know that you can do this. And it's you have, let's name some people. Doug. You have Doug, right? Yeah. You have Doug that's helping you and encouraging you and believes in you. And it's we need people like that on our side to help us stay focused. And it's that's who, and it's hard for me, but that was who Jared was to me. And it's I'm not saying that I can't find anybody else like that. It's I'm in a season where I'm learning to be able to not hold people at a distance. And that comes back to that humor as a defense mechanism. I'm learning to be more open and receiving. And it's that's having to relearn to learn new things, to be able to understand people more. And when I'm around people, it does get awkward for me because I don't know what to say. And and I apologize for that. I want to have conversations, but I'm learning how to interact with people again on a whole new level and a more mature level, to interact with them as a child of God. And it's that's where I'm coming back to my vision of who he is. And when I keep my eyes on him, and it makes it so much easier. It's I'm ready to be opened up to new people. But I know it's going to take some time to where I can actually receive them. And I ask for you here to have patience with me. Because I know I'm not as interactive as I should be. But I'm telling you now, I'm learning. I ask for grace in this period, because this is a hard period for me. This is so difficult because it's something I never had to do before in my life. And this is scary. But I see the Lord. I see him, and he's do it. He's I believe in you. It's I know you can. I didn't bring you this far to give up on you. And I did not bring you this far for you to give up on yourself.
There it is, Joe.
But that's not always saying it to me. He's saying it to you guys too. If anybody needs to hear it, for anybody that needs to hear it, do not give up on you, because he is not giving up on you. But that's good. And I'm getting better. And it's my confidence, I'm learning. The more that I focus on him, the more confidence I have in myself. I can stand up straight. I can focus and not be afraid to step out in public, because I know my posture in the Lord. I know who I am. And I don't have to move out of the way of anybody or the enemy that comes towards me, but the enemy has to move out of the way of me. because it sees the power that dwells inside of me. He sees the greatness that the Lord has placed upon my shoulders. So he has to run and flee. I'm not going to sit there and back down anymore. And I just pray that for you guys too. Don't back down anymore. Don't cast yourself out or cast yourself down. That vision that you have, continue to follow through with it. It doesn't matter how hard it seems it's going to be. It doesn't matter how many people are against you for it. But there's a time where it's going to transpire and it's going to continue to gain traction, even though it seems like it's just burning out and creating a rut. But you will get that traction. You will go forward. Yeah. I'm going to pray right now, and then I think this is a good place to stop. Father, Father God, Lord, I just thank you, Father. I thank you for the idea of vision and just being able to look at you, God, and see you for who you are, to see you holy, God, and righteously, Lord. If we keep our vision on you, God, anything is possible because we know our true identity. We know exactly who you are. We know exactly who we are, God. Let us see you as a mirror image of us, God. Let us see that what we reflect in you is going to be outwardly poured into this world, Father. Our visions are those reflections, God, those callings that you have placed upon the shoulders of the people here. There's great visionaries sitting among us, God, and people that have not even understood it yet. People that have not known it yet, God. But I pray right now that you can use those visions to excel them further into your kingdom, God, into your glory, Lord, into your greatness, Father, to understand you more, to seek after you more, to understand you more, to know you more, because it's all about you, God. It's nothing about us, Lord. And we admit that, and we can be selfish sometimes and think that it's us that's coming with this greatness. But God, if we understand that it's you, and we understand that it's all about you, then we can step past that, step past ourselves, and step into that holiness and that spiritual realm, and step into the vision that you have placed upon us, God, the vision of your glory, advancing your kingdom. God, there's so much greatness in here, and it's floating around. God, I just pray that we can reach up and take it. God, take it, because you give it to us. Take what's ours, Father, and not be afraid to face it. We do not want to be afraid to move forward in the next direction and take in the next step. God, sometimes we got to dive in, God. We just can't go in by sticking our toe in, but we got to take a leap. We got to go fully in and say, I want to do this, and I believe in myself because you believe in me. Yes. Let us taste it. We know that you're good. Let us taste your goodness. Let us taste it. Let us immerse ourselves deeper into it. I love when Beth said breathing in Yahweh and just breathing the name, because that's like a time where it's like we can have that peace now and just believe in it. It's like Yahweh, and it's like so good. It's like you can breathe that in. Now it's like a confirmation to everything that's been said. It's like, keep our eyes fixed upon you. Thank you, Lord. Glory to you. In Jesus' name.
Dude, that was awesome.
And with that, go be decided. If you want prayer, come on up, and we just bless you guys. We love you.